Hello, everybody. This is your co-host, Leonard de Guzman, of the Life After D podcast. I'm here with Emily Robinson, divorce attorney. Looks like she's in the Northern Lights. In this episode, we're gonna go over Reddit, the Life After Divorce forum, I guess the subreddits. And we'll see what happens here. You ready for this, Emily?
I'm ready. I'm ready to answer some crazy questions.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go over like the first one. We're just pulling here. It goes, "Hey, friendos, I just wanted to share with what I'm experiencing with you guys because I feel so good about it. Stinkface and I separated in July 19th. Divorce finalized in October. I bought my house in 2014, before we were married, so I kept it. I would not call myself a gardener per se, but I used to do a lot of manual labor for my grandma as a 10, 14-year-old in exchange for video games, and generally remember a bit of how common stuff works. It's kind of boring. Let's see. Let's get to it.
I bet I can guess their question.
Okay, guess the question.
Is it like, do I get any kind of compensation for my own work, like doing things on the house?
Oh, okay. So, if I'm skipping, so I set aside about $2,000 for the spring to install a new Wi-Fi sprinkler system. Never knew they had Wi-Fi sprinklers. Okay, built wooden edging by myself and have replaced all the plants. Everything is in places where it should theoretically do well. Parentheses, by the amount of sunshade the plant is supposed to get versus where I put it, colors of shrubs versus the color of house behind it, etc. See, this is what happens when you don't prepare for this. Let's go to the next one. This looks like a feel-good thing. I think it's like one of those things where they're like, it's the first day of spring after divorce, so they're happy, so they've done something. So like they have a hobby, right? After the divorce, it makes them happy. It says in the post that people are taking pictures, right? Putting it on like Instagram, probably maybe it's like a manicured thing. So like, what are things like after divorce? Like maybe a hobby's good. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, that's nice. I thought they were going to be asking about, do they get credit for their personal skill and, the things that they attribute to the house, even though they're not an actual gardener, which the answer to that is typically no, you don't get to, be paid like you're the gardener if you're not the gardener in the divorce. But yes, after the divorce. So yeah, I mean, actually, I've talked to so many people that have, struggled through divorce, and then they have a hobby they come up with after the divorce that has really changed their life. For some people, it's travel. For some people, it's finding a passion, volunteering that they didn't have time to do before. For some people, it's, dance or some kind of physical activity. Especially when there's kids and people really struggle with, now I have to share my kids and I only have my kids every other weekend. Once they discover that you can use the off weekend to do something for yourself, learn a new skill, go to school and learn a new trade, people really actually it helps them become more positive and to grow in positive ways because they're finally doing self-care and finding time for themselves again, which I think is really, really wonderful. And I think, most people have a passion that if they had time to work on it, they would do. For me, it's animal rescue. If I had time to volunteer at an animal rescue, I would absolutely do that. And that would be like my passion project. So I think it's actually also important for the divorce recovery process to find something that you love doing beyond spending time with your kids that can be your, special and specific passion. And to date again, that's important too, to let yourself date again and get back out there because it's scary and hard, but it also can be really fun.
Yeah, like my hobby is it's like well actually like Chris Rock and I have that hobby where we do stand up, and in his Netflix special the whole time he's talking about his divorce. So I mean that works. You can just get on stage and just rant about your divorce. All right, let's go to the
Do you
next one. Okay.
actually like go do stand up at clubs and stuff?
Yeah, I mean open mics.
That's
It's
awesome.
like on the lower level. Sometimes when I guess you start out, you just get on stage because it's like in LA, it's really competitive for stage time, and it's like yeah. So I mean, even you're battling even for like 3 minute sets or 5 minute sets. So yeah.
That's
So this
so
is
amazing,
yeah.
though. How cool. I could never
Uh,
do that. People always are like, how do you go in front of a judge and argue and litigate? But I'm like, how do you go do stand up in front of people and do improv in front of people? Like I could never do that.
Yeah, no, you know, in my improv class, I took improv, and there's a lot of not divorce, I mean, attorneys that were in the class, and they said it translated, I guess, in the courtroom too. So that's
Really?
interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is
All right.
interesting.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go to the next one. Okay. Oh, to the Corona one. It's bad enough that we have to stay inside all day, but okay.
Well,
So
you're in
the
San Francisco and I'm in Alaska, so we're having a good
yeah.
time.
Yeah. So we have to change this is the Zoom background. This is like entertain ourselves some way. Okay. Divorce, unsure of final order section. Maybe one of you can help me out. Any question I ask of the mediator gets ignored no matter what means I use to contact them. With the COVID-19, I've been laid off. I've been responsible for covering insurance for my two children. I've always been unsure if my ex was supposed to help pay for insurance, but since the insurance will be gone at the end of the month, I'm not sure what to do or where responsibilities lie. Can anyone help me to understand this section better? For clarity, my ex has never paid a cent towards insurance, and I'm unsure if they were supposed to do so outside of their share of doctor visit costs.
So that's a good question because a lot of people um, may even have like final divorce orders right now, and maybe they've been divorced for a while, but all of a sudden, and their orders are dad pays the health insurance or mom pays the health insurance. And now, because of COVID-19, they've lost their jobs. And because the courts are closed, they can't go into court and ask for a modification of who pays the health insurance because the courts are closed. So the courts have been sending guidance. The different counties have been sending guidelines out to the attorneys as far as how to help your clients with these kind of questions. And basically the courts are asking that everybody be really flexible with each other. If you have a court order, you need to try and pay what you're ordered to pay. Whether you're in the divorce or it's after divorce, whatever the orders are, you need to try to follow them. Obviously, if you can't, you do the best you can, and it's going to get sorted out once the courts are back online. But people need to try to be flexible with each other. If you can't pay what you're ordered to pay because you lost your job, you need to talk to your ex, try to sort it out, maybe go to mediation, try to come up with a new temporary order for during this time period. And if you can't do that, then you just got to do the best you can until you can get into court. And I do think that the courts will be very understanding if you couldn't meet your obligation, and hopefully that there will be some guidance on how to help you once we get back into the courts being open.
Yeah, I heard even people like you don't have to pay your car insurance or like, I mean, because no one's driving. Like, there's too many like cars in LA. Like, I go for walks sometimes, which I have to stop now because I guess you can get this virus airborne outside.
You just have
So
to wear a mask. You have
Yeah,
to
I
wear a
can't
mask.
go on the bridge and walk, as you see. All right, let's go. Okay, 1 year divorce anniversary! Exclamation point. What to do? What to think? Last year, on the day I went out to eat later that evening, I've been meditating and reflection on how life is better without him in my life. Okay.
Well, what should you do on your 1 year divorce anniversary? That's an important question. Um, I mean, it's bittersweet, right? It's sad and happy. It's a big part of your life that is now over, but it's also a new beginning. And, hopefully a year is long enough that some of the grief and the anger and those emotions have subsided. I did once hear that it takes like probably like half the length of the marriage to get over the grief and the emotions from the marriage. But a year is, it can go quickly, but it can also be enough time that you could have to, start new milestones, start dating again, um, go to therapy and find, your passions and find happiness again. And I think that the year anniversary should be celebrated, not necessarily like a big divorce party, although you can do that if you want, but celebrate yourself. Find a way to celebrate yourself and that you've made it a year from this, giant life-changing event. And whether that means going to a spa day for yourself or going out with your girlfriends or guy friends or doing something special with your kids or going to Disneyland. Obviously you can't do that right now, but when times go back to normal, you know, treat it like the milestone that it is. Know that you've been successful. You have made it this year, on your own and after a big emotional life event, and you deserve to celebrate yourself.
Yeah, I mean, a year from now, we'll be still doing this. We'll probably be some other place, having other
Hopefully,
screensavers.
hopefully not on a lockdown
Huh?
anymore.
Ooh. I read that because we're both in California, this governor, yeah, Newsom, he said that he declared California to be a state nation. So can you imagine in a year, California can be its own country?
That would be insane.
All right, let's see. All right, this is to need some hope for best friend in darkest hour. My best friend is experiencing her darkest hour. I like to hear the stories of you who have experienced the rejection of your spouse by their infidelity, divorce, and come out of the other side with a story of life and hope and gratitude that you never gave up. They've been married for almost 20 years and she's shattered. There's no hope right now, and I'd like to have some stories for her that she can move on and have joy again. It would be greatly appreciated, and someone who's her main support.
That's a great one, because it's true. And I do a lot of cases with infidelity, and people react in very different ways. And it's hard. It's hard. I mean, absolutely anyone experiencing a divorce for infidelity or other reasons, I recommend therapy because you need someone to talk to. It's a tough time. But I think what's really important is you need to remember that you can only control yourself. You cannot control other people and you can't control their actions. And something that I talk with my clients a lot about is that, let's say you think you knew this person for 20 years and now all of a sudden you find out they were unfaithful and you replay that 20 years in your head thinking, gosh, I wasted, the best years of my life with this person and now they've treated me like this and, this is terrible and now I've lost, all my 20s and 30s and, you go through all these emotions. But what I tell people is, look, the person that you married is not necessarily the same person you're with now. And in your 20s and 30s, and whenever you were married to them, that was what you needed at the time. They were the right person for you. They gave you beautiful children. You had a nice life for many of those years. And that was what you needed at that time. So you can't look at it like it was a waste. It wasn't a waste. It was a step in your life. And now they've changed. Either they had a midlife crisis, or, for some reason, they've now become a different person with different priorities. And you can't change that. But you also can't look back and think of the times that were happy as wasted time. That was very important, special time that you should cherish. And now you can move on. It's not that they are blameless. Obviously, they hurt you and you have to deal with that pain and that hurt. But don't let that pain and that hurt taint your view of the last 20 years. Look at the last 20 years as a positive time where a lot of good things happen. And now that step is over, that time is over, and you're going to move on to new happy times with someone else who is the right fit for you now. And, that person was the right fit for you then. This person is the right fit for you now. And try to look at it that way so that you don't spend your whole, pain and sadness now letting that taint everything that's happened before.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, this one's divorce and social media best practice. This is like a new kind of relatively new topic. So, okay. I'm going to go through it. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm 26M, which is probably 26, male. I've been married to my spouse, 28F, for just under 3 years and have now been separated for just over 3 months. We are finally joint petition with attorney and are in the final stages of paperwork and getting things finalized. The short story is essential. My wife discovered a strong new desire to no longer be exclusively monogamous and believed she was polygamous, despite telling her I didn't want that, and that I certainly wasn't ready for that to become a reality in our relationship. She pressed forward and began a relationship with an ex-BF without my consent. We tried to work things out, but it was clear she was moving in a direction I wasn't comfortable with, and she felt as though she would become extremely unhappy staying in the kind of marriage we had agreed on at our wedding. It was an incredibly painful reality, and I did what I could to make things work, but it became clear to me that we needed to end our marriage. We don't own a home or have kids, so thankfully that thankfully makes things much less complicated. Just fast forward 3 months from now, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. So there are a few questions I thought I would ask. How did you approach social media in your own divorces? How do you deal with pictures of you and your ex or romantic, intimate posts for anniversaries or birthdays? Before posting anything public, did you message people who you weren't super close with but played a major role in your life or your marriage at some point? When changing your status from married to single, or even just removing that section entirely, does that trigger a notification or status update on your profile?
Those are good questions. So I'm going to say in divorce, typically social media is not your friend, because whatever you put on there is on there forever. You can't get things off the internet. It can also cause a lot of problems, like maybe you change your status and your ex wasn't ready to change their status. So what I would probably do is I would treat social media like how you would talk to your friends in real life. If you have a best friend that's a confidant and you want to tell them about the divorce or something, private message them or talk to them in private. Don't post an update on the entire page, because while you may be angry at your ex and you don't care if they see it, there can be consequences that you haven't thought of. Maybe family members see it and that could cause problems. Maybe you say something that you don't mean to, but it makes them lose their job. and that could cause problems. Maybe if someone was unfaithful and you post that, somebody figures out who they were unfaithful with, and that causes that person to lose their job. And then you get sued for, wrongfully causing their job termination. This happens a lot with restraining orders, where people post nasty things about each other and then someone brings a restraining order. So there can be a lot of unintended consequences. And I know that social media is an outlet for a lot of people to express their emotions and share things with the world. But unless you have a completely private page with, like, your 10 best friends, as opposed to 200 people that you added that are acquaintances, is probably not safe to tell the world, what's going on in your personal life. So I would just try to always, treat it how you treat your friends in real life. If you want to tell someone something, tell that person something. Don't post a blanket advertisement to the world.
Okay, that's good to know. So don't post anything crazy, everyone. Just chill out, okay?
It also can be used against you in court if it ever got to that point.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So, that's all the time we have for today. So, everyone, at this time, just stay safe. Do you have any last words, Emily, before we close this thing?
If you have questions, feel free to send me emails and message me. Let me know what your questions are. And Lenny, did you introduce yourself? I don't think you did.
Oh yeah, if anyone's wondering what this guy's doing here in the Bay, on this podcast, I have been doing Emily's marketing. So like anything you see, like, because Emily's like online everywhere with these videos. I'm the guy behind the camera that you don't see. So that's who I am. In case people are wondering, what
And
I have.
he does my SEO, my website. He is awesome. Lenny has been a big part in helping me build my business. So we've been working together like 10 years now.
Yeah, I don't even want to look back because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so old now. Like,
Me too. It's okay.
So yeah, this is the old person podcast. So all right, so tune in next time. We'll have more topics, life after the topic.
Okay,
So,
thanks everybody. Stay safe.